This is a regular guy. This is a professional pianist who made an incredible arrangement to one of the most iconic anime songs ever written, which has become notorious for the sheer number of notes and distinct phrases which span the entire piano. The arrangement is by Animenz, who's a classically trained pianist, and it's an arrangement for Unravel from Tokyo Ghoul. Now look, I'm gonna level with you guys, I haven't seen the anime, but the song absolutely bangs. You don't need any experience with the piano to hear this, and to be honest, Animenz effectively made this into a completely different piece. And in any case, I have seen the SpongeBob version, and so I think I've earned the right to try and learn this piece. And so in the spirit of learning pieces that are way out of your skill level, because it's fun, we're going to attempt to learn it. And by learn it, I mean play most of the notes, most of the time, half of the time. It is going to take some serious practice. And whereas I'd planned to practice 2 hours a day for 1 month, we'll soon see that given my level, this was definitely quite ambitious. So welcome back to learning stuff because it's fun, not because it's employable. Where we tried to learn a backflip, the splits at some point, last time we learnt the Fantasie Impromptu, and now we're back for more, because it turns out that learning piano pieces is actually quite fun. And so we set off on day one in attempt to learn this iconic piece. On day one, we worked on the introduction, which is definitely the easiest part of the piece, but even so, it did take some getting used to. Naturally, it was quite demoralising when the easiest part of the piece was still quite difficult, but we'd only just started, so rather than get demoralised, I thought I'd just wait and see. So we're on day 2 now, and as you can see, I managed to do the green box and the pink in the first day, and in my first bit of practice, I managed to do this bit here. I'm surprised that it took so long. I need to kind of practice it more to understand it better. My goal for today is to get to this bit, which is where it starts to get quite heavy, and presumably this is going to take me absolutely ages. Imagine that, I mean that's almost 1 page and there's only 6, so that would be sick. And as we approached the end of the first week, I'd managed to decipher around 1.5 pages, and by that I mean I'd played the notes of the first 1.5 pages at least once. I mean I really do practice in this way. I'll spend quite a while deciphering the notes on the page, and then even longer to commit it to muscle memory, which is why maybe 1 month was quite ambitious, because it ended up taking far longer than a month to even decipher the 6 pages. Which gets us to the 2 questions which I got the most in the Fantasie Impromptu video, those being how long have I been playing the piano for, and which app am I using to do the notes. I started the piano when I was a fair bit younger. I was lucky enough to have lessons, although I didn't take it anywhere near as seriously as this and didn't really practice. I guess to some extent I regret not practicing more when I was younger and had more time, but there's no point thinking about that now, and so I try and just practice as much as possible. And so for anyone wanting an exact number of how many years I've been playing the piano, I guess about 5 years between the ages of 8 and 13, and have only taken it up again in the last couple of years without lessons. Technically I'm not that good of a pianist, but that isn't really the point of these videos. There's already loads of channels of professional pianists who are immeasurably better than me, and I'm just some guy. The goal is to show how someone with fairly modest piano ability can try and tackle some of these more difficult pieces and the journey of learning them, even if, to be honest, that means playing it quite badly. And so with that, the app that I use is called GoodNotes. I like it because you can copy and paste certain things that repeat, and then I kind of like to break it down into coloured sections and then just practice those repeatedly. In weeks 2 and 3, there were a lot of moments where I wanted to stop trying to learn this piece, because it became clear that there was no way I was going to be able to play this at full speed, and even to play it much slower than that would take so much practice. But I was really moved by all of the comments in the Fantasie Impromptu video, and they motivated me to not give up and to keep going. I've genuinely never seen anything like it on YouTube, and so I guess there's something to be said about the common thread of liking music for the sake of it. We went straight past 1 month barely without even noticing it, and at about 1.5 months we'd deciphered the whole piece, and even encountered here the final boss. Now why I call this the final boss is really cool. At least for me, we'd come so close to almost finishing the piece, and this section in particular is so confusing. So you can almost start to hear the melody in this kind of final boss section, so it should be something like... and the left hand obviously is doing this. You know, when I first heard the piece, there's no way I heard these 2 sections individually, whereas when you actually try and learn it, it's quite nice to kind of discover the piece as it really is, you know, to segment it. And it really made me appreciate re-listening to the real thing. and just how incredible it is that he manages to have the melody on the right hand while doing this incredibly chaotic stuff with the left hand, and at full speed it barely sounds like the thing I just showed you, which just goes to show how fast this piece is when it's played properly. Fast forward to now, it's been 3 months where I've been practicing this piece, but if you're interested in seeing how far a fairly average piano player can go in 3 months on Animenz's arrangement of Unravel, then this is the best I could get. I wanted different angles, so I did it in multiple shots, but this is roughly how it might sound if I was to play it in one go. Rediscovering the piano again properly in the last 4 months has actually been quite incredible. To anyone who watched the first piano video, you'll know that I actually broke my ankle, and that was part of the reason why I tried taking up the piano properly. Obviously I'm not glad I broke my ankle, but perhaps if I hadn't, I wouldn't have taken up the piano again this seriously. I guess that was one of the nice things about the injury, in that I couldn't have predicted the longer term consequences. For most of the duration of the 3 months learning this piece, I really did think there was no way I was going to play it, even slowly, but I am really happy of how it turned out. In hindsight, even the practice was really fun, waking up in the morning to play the piano, and every week seeing small improvements, until now where I can actually enjoy the process of playing it through. The journey with this piece is by no means over, but after 3 months I felt like I could play the piece in one go. And if you're one of the people that left a comment in the last video, then thank you so much, because it really motivated me in continuing to learn this piece. Like I mentioned last time, the best outcome for me for this video would be if there's someone like me who's always wanted to learn this piece but has maybe felt that it's out of their skill level. I don't think there's anything wrong with learning to play a piece even if it's slower than the intended speed. I guess I've always focused on learning pieces that I wanted to play, and maybe in doing so that makes me a worse pianist, but it's worth it because it's fun. That said, I'm going to start looking into having piano lessons again, because as much as I regret not practicing more when I was younger, I suspect I'll probably regret it even more to have not had lessons now when I'm older, if that makes sense. And I clearly have a lot of room for improvement with this final boss that we discussed. It would be nice to bring out the top notes of the right hand more and the left hand a little bit less. A piece like this, or even the Fantasie Impromptu, isn't something where I think I'm done with it once I've learnt to play it in one go, especially this slowly. I'm trying to look at it more as a kind of long-term or even lifelong target of playing the piece better and better over many months and years. And so I hope that this video has brought something for you, because at the end of the day, I suppose time is our most valuable asset. And it really doesn't matter what level of piano you are, better than this, worse than this, it really doesn't matter. Because doing practice is actually quite a lot of fun, and if anything, I find it even more impressive to see someone who's taking up the piano later, especially if they've never done it before. And so I'll continue to make piano videos and I'll keep practicing new pieces. And so I hope that you'll stick around for the journey. I know I've said it a few times already, but it was actually quite moving to read all of the inspiring comments last time. So thank you very much for that.